I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took a meme to the knee and overused this joke. Welcome to episode number 301 of the SC.Y podcast, boys and girls. Ode to the majestic realm of video games, universal truths, totally objective. Yep. Because, of course, when you talk about video games and what's your favorite, it's totally objective, right? No, dipshit. It's subjective as fuck. These are all my opinions. But I really do want to talk about some of my all-time favorite video games, their impact on my life. And the one commonality that we video game enthusiasts can all agree is the most annoying fucking thing you can ever hear is that video games cause violence. Inherently untrue. Okay? And most of the times when these politicians, these so-called upstanding politicians, start berating video games, they turn out to be fucking complete psychopaths and pedophiles and murderers. So, not really sure you want to take the moral high ground on that motherfucker. Right? And here's the thing, too. There are crazy people out there who can't distinguish reality and fantasy. Those are called people with schizophrenia. Or, I don't know, borderline personality disorder, or whatever fucking bullshit. But most of us who play video games just loves it. Good lord, man. All these stupid-ass fucking kids play COD and Fortnite. Fuck off. I get it, the competitive scene is awesome. I mean, StarCraft, League of Legends, there are nuances and subtleties within the competition themselves that I really do respect and appreciate. But for me, video game has always been about fun. Has always been about exploration and doing like some wacky shit in this world of fantasy that you can't do in reality, right? That's why, I mean, video games are awesome. I can just end the episode right here, and it's a valid fucking episode, right? Video games are awesome. Thank you very much for attending my weird TED Talk, and see you next time. But, you know, the thing with video games has always been, of course, it's not reality, it's fantasy. And it's a tool to take your mind off of reality, but it shouldn't be the only reality you live in, right? But, you know, moderation and, you know, good games, you're gonna have a great time. And I gotta be honest with you, man. I don't game on PC. I don't. I never had a powerful enough PC to play games on. And even then, I never really liked keyboards. I've always been a controller kind of guy. And I'll also throw this out there. Xbox can suck my fucking dick. All right? If you're talking about the original Xbox, okay, there is a valid argument to how great that console actually is. But 360, all this shit coming out, you're resting your laurels on the half dozen IPs that you got. And even then, every, some odd generation, you pop those things out. They're just rehashes and regurgitations of the same thing, just prettier packages. So, no thanks on Xbox. And you might be asking yourself, well, you pretentious fuck. You don't like PC, you don't like Xbox. Well, what the fuck then do you like? Well, here's my video game console history, all right? At the Nintendo 64, one of the greatest fucking game stations of all time. Let's not even argue that shit. The original PlayStation 1, Game Boy Advanced SP, the best rendition of the Game Boy. Again, don't fucking debate me on that shit. The GameCube, the PlayStation Portable, the PSP, the PlayStation 3 Slim Edition. Because there is a massive difference between the two, kids. Actual physical button versus laser overlay shit, which I'm not crazy about that. The PlayStation 4 White Destiny Bundle Edition, which I was ecstatic because that was one of the big fucking purchases I made with my first paycheck. It's so stupid, but yeah, I mean, I still have that thing. It's a beautiful white PlayStation. I still fucking love it. Have the Wii U, which I'm not gonna lie, I bought that game station exclusively for Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker, and the Twilight Princess remake because greatest fucking games series, the goddamn Legend of Zelda series, man. I mean, come on, let's not go there. And Nintendo Switch. And yeah, no, I haven't bought the PS5. I have no intention of buying the PlayStation 5 this year. or within the next 6 to 9 months because A, overpriced, B, low supply, also, to B, I mean, high demand. It just kind of goes without saying. And eventually, by this time next year, the PlayStation 5 is going to be significantly cheaper, and it's going to be tagged on with a bundle of great games that's going to, be saturated within a year. Obviously, you have backwards compatibility, but yeah, I'm not crazy about buying the PlayStation 5 right now. I mean, I'm one of those people that bought an external hard drive. Well, technically, it's one of those fucking internal hard drives that you can pop in and out of the PlayStation 4. So I actually added 2 terabytes on the system already. So there's no real fucking point in buying a goddamn PlayStation 5 other than, oh my gosh, pretty graphics, which, fuck, who cares? I have plenty of fucking games, man. So yeah, with those consoles, man, I've been just, living life and sometimes escaping life and cruising through some weird fantasy worlds. And, over the 2+ decades that I've been, gaming, it's crazy to think, how my taste buds have kind of, changed, but not changed and added on things. And I gotta be honest, man, thinking about, my favorite games and how people usually do this shit, listing top 5, all the shit. No, I can't do that. I can't in good conscience, rank my favorite video games. I mean, honestly, I'd be hesitant to even put them in tiers because, I mean, every video game, I mean, it depends on what day you ask me. Like, if you ask me, like, hey, what you think about Sims 4 versus Skyrim? And at one point, I'll tell you, oh my gosh, I mean, I could spend 16 straight hours playing Sims 4. And it'd be the greatest fucking thing. But the reality, too, is like Skyrim is the much more objectively better game, from back to front. But, it's always context and context, right? But these are some of the, I would say, more significantly impactful games in my life and stuff I always go back to, honestly. And it's curious because I was actually playing a Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask on the 3DS this weekend, and that's where the idea for this episode came from. I thought, I kind of want to talk about these games and like how just amazing they are. I mean, I'm playing Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask I honestly can't exaggerate, I want to say maybe the 20th time from start to finish, and it's still a brilliant game. And I'm gonna slobber all over Majora's Mask, but before I do, when I talk about these games, I'm only gonna list one entry per IP because if we start listing all my favorite Zelda games, we're gonna be here fucking forever. Okay, we might have just a separate episode for that, maybe. Let's talk about Legend of Zelda for a full episode next time. Where, oh boy, there's a lot of games I could dissect for fucking hours. I mean, well, we could try to condense that down to like 37, 38 minutes, but you know what I mean. I love Zelda. I love the Legend of Zelda, and I always find it hilarious / infuriating when the casuals come up like, oh, what if Zelda was a girl? Oh, kill yourself. Can you just do the due diligence of a little bit of research as to who the character is, please? Because Zelda isn't a playable character until what I think is, I want to say Legend of Zelda 2 in the original. Was it the Famicom or the Super Nintendo? I forget. But anyways, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, released in 2000. I was a 8-year-old kid living in Los Angeles, and when this game came out, you have to understand, I just kind of beat Ocarina of Time by myself, but of course, I mean, I had, my parents and, my parents' friends' kids try to help me with that shit, so I wasn't really finishing this game by myself, so to speak. But there was this announcement that Majora's Mask was going to come out. It was this kind of successor to the Ocarina of Time. I thought, oh, cool. So what's this going to be? So you had to have the Rumble Pack, which was this whole thing to enhance the graphic. And at that time, The fucking Rumble Pack was some mind-blowing shit, all right? I don't want to fucking hear anybody else, bitch at me about, oh, dude, what was so great about the Rumble Pack? It went from like 32 bits to like 64 bits or some fucking crazy number like that. And if you know what I'm talking about, there is a significant difference in presentation when you put the Rumble Pack in, all right? And so when you say, hey, Legend of Zelda, you're going to need a Rumble Pack, and it's going to be fucking fantastic, I'm already hyped. I'm a kid. I'm already, in this mindset of Ocarina of Time is just one of the greatest fucking games I've ever played, and still holds true. And you're telling me there's going to be a successor, kind of sequel to this shit? Let's go. And, I got the game. You get the Rumble Pack. You also get the Prima guidebook that I actually got as a present from my parents' friends. And man, oh man, I got to tell you, when I played this game for the first time, I was actually renting it, when back in the good old days of renting video games or going to a Blockbuster. Yeah, those kinds of days. And, I rent this game for 3 days. I begged my parents to buy it. We finally buy this goddamn game. And, man, I will tell you, the Majora's Mask, Rumble Pack, N64, and the Prima guidebook for the Majora's Mask was the legendary combo that defined hours of my childhood, man. I mean, you're just playing through this game, right? After Majora's Mask, which is kind of a relatively straightforward, beat the bad guys, save the princess, save the world kind of deal. This was different. Yes, you're technically saving the world from a moon that's about to crash into this town in 3 days, and you gotta find the temples and shit. Which, yeah, it sounds like a typical Zelda game, but the time traveling mechanic, just the time mechanic itself was some brilliant next level shit. And when you're an 8-year-old kid trying to figure this thing out, because you're a dum-dum, you're trying to flip through the guidebook and, grab the control and fight through the fucking monsters in the dungeon, it's some panicky shit. It's that meme, the panic with the chaos. Because you have 72 hours to get these masks. And the first time I played this game, I swear to God, you have the 72-hour clock mechanic. And I didn't get through on the first day or first playthrough or first 3 days or whatever way you want to put it. And when the game over screen goes to the city just getting nuked, like basically nuked, and I'm playing this in the middle of the night as an 8-year-old kid, it's the most terrifying shit ever. And the mask animations were creepy as fuck, but this is what made Majora's Mask amazing. It wasn't your normal Zelda game. I mean, the mask mechanic too, along with the time travel and time mechanic, really made the gameplay just so worth it, man. I mean, the mask quests, they are the most infuriating things, but they're totally worth it when you get the masks and you get the perks and the amenities that comes with it. I mean, the bunny hood, man. Shout out to the fucking bunny hood on Majora's Mask. It's one of the greatest fucking masks ever. Super speed, Sonic style running. And for those of you who haven't played Majora's Mask, all of this shit is going way over your head. All I gotta tell you is this. This is quite possibly one of the greatest Legend of Zelda games in history, and there are so many ways to play it. Obviously, you have these emulators out anywhere and everywhere, original N64 or the 3DS. You also have the virtual stores on the Wii or Wii U. Not really sure about the Nintendo Switch, but the Majora's Mask, bro, it's one of the greatest fucking games of all time. And yeah, I actually replayed this on the 3DS, as I said. And the only thing that's really blocking that from being a perfect game is the fucking circle pad camera. It's a disaster. Sorry, Nintendo. As much as I love Majora's Mask, and if you're watching on the video side, we have the 3DS cover here right in front of the Pikachu. And I gotta tell you, man, it is one of the greatest fucking games, Majora's Mask, and I can play that game all day, every day, any day. And it's almost like a cult/religion to me because it tackles so many interesting themes, And I remember watching Game Theory a couple years back when the show was actually good, and there was this discussion about Majora's Mask with a Peanut Butter Gamer also, who I don't mind his content at all, but it was this discussion of the theme that prevails throughout Majora's Mask, the whole idea of dabda, how people deal with death, depression, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and or is it denial? I'm sorry, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and each and every level of the game actually represents that wholly. And I thought, whoa, that's some crazy shit. And going back on it now and playing it, it's like, whoa, these are some real deep shit that you don't really pick up as a kid, but you appreciate as you get older. And I gotta tell you, man, I mean, I would recommend anyone and everyone who wants to get into a Zelda series, start with Majora's Mask. It is absolutely amazing. Or, if you want to do it old school, Ocarina of Time, or, OG Legend of Zelda, or, Link's Awakening, whatever fucking thing you want to go for. But I would always say Majora's Mask because that shit is still brilliant. It's 20 years later. I'm still playing the goddamn game and I'm thinking, oh my God, there's nothing better than this shit. I could just fucking go waste 14 hours on this game. I don't feel like I really wasted anything. It just feels like I've entered a new fantasy reality and had my fill, and then that's it. It's a fucking fantastic game. And a lot of times, these games you play throughout your childhood, a lot of these games, they don't age all that well. But despite relative to a lot of these other games, the higher depreciation rate for it, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle 2001 is one of my all-time favorite games, man. I don't know what it is about that game on the Nintendo GameCube, but the music, the game level design, the actual gameplay where you can switch up between 3 different classes of play style, between good and evil, Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles, and on the evil side you got Shadow the Hedgehog, Dr. Eggman, and Rouge the Bat. So many options. And another game, I mean, man, I used to play the shit out of this game in middle school on the Nintendo GameCube. Play a couple of levels, get frustrated because I'm stupid and I can't I can't beat something, just smash my fucking controller like an idiot. And then eventually just go to a Chow Garden and be like, all right, I'm going to take care of my fucking made up kids. And you know what the fuck I'm talking about if you played that game. It's the Chow Garden, these little fucking angelic waterhead creatures. I don't really fucking know how to describe them, but you raise these little things in your garden, and I always felt guilty turning the Chow evil, quote unquote evil, making it into a darker hue of a Chow, which is weird, but you got to diversify your Chow portfolio. And I just loved playing Sonic Adventure Battle 2, man. I mean, the music, the soundtrack for this shit, it's incredible. A little corny with the lyrics, I'm not gonna lie. Some on the nose shit, but for all intents and purposes, it is a video game soundtrack, and it does its job pretty well. And again, it's this game isn't perfect by any means. When you go back and play it, super choppy. Storyline is just kind of dumb and redundant at times, and kind of a mess all around. Lots of plot holes, but it's a Sonic game, and honestly, it's one of the better Sonic games out there that I guess gets overlooked a lot because of the original Sonic platform games, but Sonic Adventure Battle 2, man, that shit is great. Shout out to Sonic Heroes on the Nintendo GameCube. I know that came out on several consoles, if I'm not mistaken, but Sonic Heroes was another game that I played the shit out of, but Sonic Adventure Battle 2 Adventure 2 Battle, that was the shit. And the fucking battle title comes at the end because it's kind of a remake of a Dreamcast game, if I'm not mistaken, with that on the GameCube. So good shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know they have a PS4 version of that, which I was debating about buying, but yeah, we'll leave that in the past. And there's plenty of fucking gameplays. And yeah, some of the mechanics were extremely frustrating. Knuckles flying at times, drove you insane because some of the controllers and the camera angle just did not work. But it brought some level of nice complexity to the Sonic series that's known for just its simple platforming. And sometimes you need that complexity, and sometimes, of course, you need the simplicity back. And this is why Pokemon Ruby 2002, one of my all-time favorites, man. And yes, I have here behind me the 3DS version of Pokemon Ruby, technically Pokemon Omega Ruby, that does have, if I'm not mistaken, the Rayquaza episode and the fucking Omega Evolution, which is so fucking stupid. I'm not gonna lie, Omega Evolution's cool. The concept is awesome. I mean, XYZ Evolution, all this new stuff is great. They're building on Pokemon lore. But man, throw me back to just giving me 3 fucking generations of maybe 100 to 150 Pokemon, and let me catch my shit. This is what fucking pissed me off about that's Let's Go Eevee, whatever, on the Nintendo Switch. I'm like, really? You can't fucking Pokemon battle unless it's a fucking gym or a trainer? This is shit. But good old Pokemon Ruby. I respect the original red, blue, and green. Or yellow, technically. I also respect gold and silver. But for me, it was always Ruby, and it was always Sapphire. Sapphire is cool, don't get me wrong. But you know why I say Ruby specifically? The most badass motherfucking Pokemon that you can get. Groudon, this dragon lava motherfucker. I know Rayquaza looks cool. He's this fucking dragon from the stars and shit, but no. Magma Dragon Man Groudon, okay? You fucking picked that shit. And again, this came at a time where I had the Game Boy Advance SP, the most superior version of the Game Boy. Stop it with the fucking Game Boy Advance regular. Stop it with the regular Game Boy. Stop it with the Game Boy Color. Game Boy Advance SP, man. Backwards compatibility and advanced games. It was the shit. And you could play Ruby on here, and you could transfer all your old shit. You can use all the new shit. New Pokemon, old Pokemon. It is the best of all worlds. Eventually, you move on to the 3DS shit, 3D stuff, which... I do have... what's that shit? Pokemon Sun. But all the new Pokemon now, I don't really care for it. And I am really sounding like an old man. I understand that. This game came out in 2002, and I'm at this point now like, hey, Dave, Pokemon, we're only under 350. I gotta tell you, all the 600 plus Pokemon that you kids got now, I don't understand any of it. There's an ice cream Pokemon, and I just have no idea what you kids are up to these days. Yep. That's my life now. That's my life now. Nearing 30 and reminiscing about the good old days of Pokemon, because there were some good old days of Pokemon. And you know what? There were some good old days of another IP that I love, and now I just detest because of the way it depreciated. And it's Assassin's Creed. And more specifically, Assassin's Creed 2, 2009. One of the greatest fucking games I've ever played. It's the only game with all these achievement era games. It's the only video game that I've completed 100%. It is the first video game I got for the PlayStation 3. And man, oh man. It is Assassin's Creed 2. It is arguably one of the greatest fucking games ever. Because, I mean, not only are you, smoothly blending in RPG adventure elements of, the previous Assassin's Creed game, but, you're adding all this historical fiction stuff. You're adding, this feeling of authentic looks and the buildings of Italy and the characters, man. Oh my God. And I get it. A lot of the, specific historians are like, hey, none of this is true. Historical fiction, bro. All right, come on. Historical fiction. And I am a sucker for Renaissance Italy. I am. I love the history of it. I love what happens in the regular history of all the Renaissance philosophers, artists, and really what that time period transitioned world history into, eventually leading to the Enlightenment and all these other things like the birth of the United States and all that shit. So historical fiction games like these are fantastic, and Assassin's Creed 2 really just did a phenomenal job in presenting the story and presenting all these historical things that kind of aligned with it. And oh my god, the gameplay is fucking phenomenal. The fucking combat system, the stealth killing, it's brilliant stuff. And this is what I hate about the new Assassin's Creed games. Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, they can all go fuck themselves. Oh, it's a new fucking thing. Listen, again, old man mode. Back in my day, Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed used to be about stealth and killing and climbing buildings, not about whacking other people with the sticky booms and the goddamn swords. For real, man. Like, Assassin's Creed 2 and Black Flag are the only fucking great games before this whole transition from Ubisoft, which, I mean, it was their fuck up anyways. They kept churning out these trash Assassin's Creed games, okay? Brotherhood, really? Revelation, really? 2 garbage-ass games in between. Assassin's Creed 3, which was, oh my god, it's the blandest fucking Assassin's Creed game you could possibly push out there. Although, to be fair, the story was actually pretty cool. American Revolution, all that shit. But man, oh man, I am eternally disappointed in this series and where it has gone so far in the year 2020. But man, throw me back to the days of Assassin's Creed 2, 2009. I mean, this game, man, was just some life-changing shit. Okay? I mean, you play as Ezio Auditore and you fucking jump around rooftops, link up with Leonardo da Vinci, help the Medici family, try to bring down the motherfucking Pope. It's like only in Assassin's Creed. It's fucking amazing. And seriously, man, Assassin's Creed 2, Black Flag are the only 2 great games, relatively speaking, within the series before the transition. And yeah, I'm not even going to rate the transition games. I haven't played them. I don't really want to play them, to be quite honest. And yeah, I mean, certain game IPs like, Assassin's Creed, you see the slow death of it, and it sucks as a fan. And it's crazy to think that all the time that I spent fucking playing Assassin's Creed 2 and getting all those achievements, I would have never have thought like the series would end to where it is now. Valhalla. Make Assassin's Creed great again. Make Assassin's Creed great again. Ubisoft will never understand that shit. Because they're fucking idiots. But what can you do, kids? What can you do? Well, you jump on to other fucking game series and enjoy that shit. That's what. I mean, come on, man. Video games are like buffets, man. I mean, anything in life is like buffets, man. If you treat it like a restaurant, yeah, it's a restaurant. You're only going to get 1 or 2 fucking things, and you're going to be angry about that shit all day. But it's like a buffet life. You can just pick other shit up. And a couple of years after Assassin's Creed 2, something else entered my life in the video game realm that really just blew my mind. And it was Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. November 11th, 2011. I will never forget that day because I recall asking my dad around 11:30 at night, like, Dad, can we go to the local GameStop and pick up a copy of Skyrim? I ordered my midnight copy. I need to be there at 11:55 to pick this thing up. And sure enough, we drive to our local GameStop. I pick that thing up. I play for a couple of hours before heading to, campus. And oh my God, it blew my mind. Skyrim blew my mind because the hype trailer for this thing was unreal. And of course you knew it's, the same guys who made bloody Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, technically with Obsidian. So, I mean, not really Bethesda, but, technically, yes. You also had Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion. So there was a lot of expectations and hype, and holy fuck, man. Amazing. Amazing. Like, yeah, sure, bugs, whatever. But the moment you start playing Skyrim and you're taken into this world, you can't get out. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I probably logged about 300 to maybe 400 hours on Skyrim, maybe more. I have no idea because I played on both PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4 because this game is just that good. The mechanics for PlayStation 4, I mean, transitions super fucking seamlessly and well. And man, every time I play Skyrim, I lose myself a little bit because you just get sucked into this world where, man, everything just is craftable, moldable. I mean, it feels like you're in it. And of course, you have all this VR shit now, but I mean, the actual game that released in 2011, Skyrim, you can't beat it, man. It's just that fucking great. And I gotta be honest, I've had multiple occasions after this game's release where I ditched social meetings, like social outings. Like people wanted to go out at the weekend. Like, hey man, let's go party. Yeah, there's gonna be chicks. that's how stupid college kids talk. Hey bro, we're going to a fucking party. Or in Las Vegas case, hey, we're going to a hotel suite and we're gonna have a fucking drinking party. I don't know what the fuck they called that shit. It was like a hotel party, but like there's plenty of fucking booze and shit all the time. But I ditched a lot of those. I was like, fuck that. No, let's stay home. Play Skyrim. Because I got a fucking Daedric armor to craft. And man, crafting Daedric armors are pretty goddamn hard because you gotta fucking harvest those Daedra hearts. You know how difficult those are to get when you're level 15? And not too hard, but it's pretty tedious shit. But Skyrim is that great. It really does blur that line of reality and fantasy, which I mean a lot of these games do, man, and that's why we love them. That's why we love them. And you know, it's funny because I wrote just a handful of games that had my life really change and impact me in certain ways. And I'm sitting here now in this room and looking at all the game collections that I got, and I'm realizing more and more there are plenty of titles that I didn't write down here. A couple that I can name just looking at the rack here. The Batman Arkham series, the BioShock series, holy hell, man. Grand Theft Auto 5, which, oh my god, amazing fucking game. Mass Effect 2, which I think that's the best game out of the three. Although I know people are going to bitch and moan about Mass Effect 3, but I still like the ending. I'm one of those people that will say, it seems like a logical ending. It felt as though that was kind of the inevitable route of where the story was going to go. But yeah, there are plenty of fucking video games that I treasure and adore. And trust me, this isn't a comprehensive list at all. I mean, if you ask me, hey, well, let's talk about all your favorite video games and you have all the fucking time in the world, we'll be here for hours. But to kind of finalize this, one of my favorite things now in terms of video games is sports ball, which it's crazy because years ago, especially within the ethers of, middle school where I'm playing Sonic, I'm playing Pokemon, I'm playing Legend of Zelda, sports never entered my mind. And it wasn't until the 2014 World Cup where I really decided to embrace sports and start watching that shit in kind of like a cult religious volume of ridiculousness. And what I found the best thing to be to learn sports and the rules and players and stats and how to read numbers and shit was through video games. FIFA was one of the first video games in terms of sports ball that I purchased. And, it's these annual fucking renewal video games that has minor rehashes and a roster update. And, I've been a sucker for it for the last few years. I'm not going to lie about that. But, every year now it's more like this, where, okay, season starts up, new video game pops out, fuck that, just play last year's, play it until the off season, where these IPs are going to have discounts. I mean, FIFA goes heavy with the discounts by, the summertime, and price drops to about maybe, I want to say like $9.99, $14.99. Same with 2K. But I mean, honestly, this is how I really learned sports again, or not again, but I mean, certain sports I had to relearn, like soccer, baseball, but games like hockey, football. Hell, I mean, I guess not baseball, hockey, football, soccer. I'm missing one. I feel fucking dumb, but I am missing one, aren't I? Well, any whore, boys and girls, sports ball games. They made me learn. They're still making me learn. Right now, I'm actually playing the show 19 and playing franchise mode, trying to bring the Seattle Mariners into a fucking playoff spot. And it's these little things in video games of, either, trading teams in a sports ball game, or riding through the fucking hills in Skyrim, or swapping masks and running around like a crazy person in Majora's Mask. That video games really does, alleviate the stresses of reality and put you into this fantasy world where you could just be who you want and just have fun. And again, if you can't distinguish that, you're a fucking schizophrenic fuck. That's all there is to it, motherfucker. But ultimately, kids, video games are just amazing. And it's good for you. I mean, I don't care what anyone else says. It's good for you. As long as you, do it in moderation, don't fucking lose yourself into that shit, you're going to be fine. And don't play Fortnite and COD, because what are you, fucking 5? I'm going to get so much shit for that. But, like, honestly, man, like, okay, let me end the episode with this shit, with the hypothetical. Why do people like Fortnite? It's boring as fuck. And I like Call of Duty. Don't get me wrong. Modern Warfare 1, 2, 3, amazing. I mean, story campaign was brilliant, and the gameplay mechanic, spot on. But, man, redundant shit. What the fuck is the point? Oh, because my friends are playing. All right, man. So what? They'll leave. Single players, man. Figure that shit out. But on the next episode on the Sky Lounge podcast, boys and girls, we are going to talk some sports ball. Yeah. Finished off with some sports ball. We're going to talk some sports ball tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. All right, motherfuckers. I appreciate you dropping by this episode. Follow me at the Sky Lounge on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. And also check out the Sky Lounge on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, as we are still suspended on Twitter. Did I say Twitter? I meant Facebook. Fuck. When you rush things, it happens, kids. But yeah, I'm still suspended on Twitter. But follow me on everything else. And until next time, fuck off.